Just as a disclaimer, we want you to know that some of the movies that we will be reviewing were shot in a different time and era where people of race and sex were not treated equally. We understand this and hope you do too. The movies or anything that happened on the sets are not the views of this podcast or what this show is intended to be all about.
Exactly. And we want to give due diligence in presenting the movie and not the views of the cast or directors or anyone involved. But we also feel it's necessary to let the audience know some of the background information to get a feel for what was happening at the time of shooting the film. Again, we hope you understand that we do not agree with everything that went on, and we just want to give out the information. And with that being said, hope you enjoy the show.
Danae and her child have been brought safely to the island of Seriphos. There, let Danae and her child live, safe and happy.
The son of Zeus is to be left to the whim of chance, while mine is punished with deformity. It is time for chance to intervene. Time you saw something of the world, Perseus. Time you came face to face with fear. Time to know the terrors of the dark and look on death. Time your eyes were opened to grim reality. Far to the east, across the sea, in Joppa, in the kingdom of Phoenicia.
Set him down, half naked, in a strange, despairing city.
Chance?
Nothing to do with chance, and you know it. A deliberate and malicious act. Unworthy of a goddess.
You accuse me?
Well, one thing's certain. My son needs more than an actor's painted cloak and a wooden sword. Provide him with suitable weapons. Weapons of divine temper. A helmet, a sword, a shield. Have them with all speed.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Tragedy of Cinema podcast. I'm your host Jimbo, and surprisingly, almost back-to-back weeks, we have
Terrence.
Terrence is here. This is so amazing. Today, this is episode 47, and we will be discussing one of my childhood favorite movies, which I got to pick, The Clash of the Titans. The original, not the trashy remake. So we'll get to that in just a minute. A couple of things we want to get out of the way at the beginning. We did have a new review this week, and I say anytime anybody leaves us a review, whether good or bad, we read it on the air. So this is from Rochelle63. I hope I say that right, Rochelle. It says, the title of this is Two Millennials Reviewing Older Movies, and she gave us a 5 stars.
Very nice.
Or they. I don't know. So, says, I'm digging this podcast even though I don't always agree with her thoughts and reviews. But that's actually what I like about this show. Not everyone sees eye to eye, and I appreciate another take, especially from a younger audience. Great job, Jimbo and Terrence. Well, Rochelle, we thank you. We always enjoy it. You know, when I got this one, I was at work. I was having a really, really bad night. And, sometimes you sit back, you take a deep breath, and I pulled open that email, I read that, and then it was like, it got better from then on out. You know what I mean? But Rochelle, one thing. Don't call me a millennial. Okay? I'm not a millennial. I may be younger. I'm actually 43. I'm actually Gen X. Terrence is a resident millennial here. So, well, thank you for your review. As always, if anybody hasn't left us a review, please go ahead. Go on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, wherever. Leave us a review, and we will read it on the air.
The other millennial that we sometimes get a guest star is Kyle.
Kyle is like the baby millennial of the podcast, yes. So, Terrence, this wouldn't be an episode without me throwing a question at you. And since this is basically a spin of Greek mythology movie we're getting ready to talk about.
Yep.
Terrence, if you could be a mythological figure in Greek lore, who would you be and why?
Who would I be and why?
Or a creature. You could be a creature. It doesn't matter.
I would say... Oh, man, there's so many. But Dionysus, man, because he's got it going on. Like, he's just living the dream.
There you have it, folks. If you don't know who that is, we'll have to pull out a Greek dictionary and look him up. But one thing real quick is Terrence and I had the privilege of being interviewed by Mrs. Leslie Fear yesterday from the podcast of Because I Want to Know. She is a author. She has paranormal romance books out. The Graveyard Watchman, I believe, is the series that are 3. But I told her, I said, look, I said, we are more than happy to come on there. I said, I will play your promo on our podcast. So if you guys would go to Because I Want to Know podcast, subscribe, leave her a 5-star review. She interviews different people. Like her episode today was about a person that had COVID.
Yeah.
And they talked about some of the myths or non-myths about, she just wanted to get the information out there about somebody that actually has it, what you can expect. And she says, look, I know this isn't for everybody. And she wanted to just make sure that they actually she actually talks to somebody that actually had it. It's very well done, very tasteful. So actually go listen to that too. But go leave a review, 5-star. Our episode will review on or drop live on her podcast November 16th. That's how far ahead about she's scheduled. So be on the lookout for that. Me and Terrence get into some stuff with her, some shenanigans. It's pretty fun. So I'm going to go ahead and drop her promo in right about here.
Are you looking for a new podcast that talks about, well, everything? If so, you might want to try out my new podcast, Because I Want to Know. The show where I get into people's heads and discuss how the choices in their lives have affected them. We could be talking about anything from true crime, the paranormal, or, I don't know, metal detecting. I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty of what makes people do what they do. A kind of stalking you just can't do on Facebook. So join me each Monday as I sit down and have a chat with some amazing and fascinating guests, going through seemingly ordinary lives.
So there you have it, Amanda. She have a nice voice. It's just like she has a voice for radio. I mean, yeah, it's just very nice, very smooth and relaxing. So thanks, Leslie, for having us. It was fun. So Terrence, Clash of the Titans, my friend. Have you ever seen this movie before today, or this time you watched it?
I've seen bits and pieces in the past, like, scrolling through TV and stuff like that when I was younger. But this is actually my first time sitting down and watching it in full.
And did you watch the remake?
No.
Okay. All right, then I can't bash you too bad then. So let's go ahead and take this episode away. Terrence, Clash of the Titans.
All right. Clash of the Titans, release date, June 12th, 1981. Its budget was anywhere between 9 and 15 million. Numbers were hard to find. But it did make a box office of 70 million, so it did make its money back. Its runtime was 118 minutes, so almost pushing 2 hours, about, hour 50-minute movie. This was directed by British film director Desmond Davis, who also did Sherlock Holmes and the Sign of 4, and a movie I'm not familiar with, but it seemed to be one of his other notable movies, which is The Girl with Green Eyes. When I looked up his name, that movie popped up a lot, so I'm guessing it's one of his other notable movies. I didn't recognize any of the others. This was written by Beverly Cross. As far as when we're looking at technical specs, this was excuse me, the cinematographer that helped film this was Ted Moore. This was edited by Timothy Gee, and this production company was MGM. This was distributed by the United Artists and Cinema International Corporation. And now off to my favorite part, the awards. There's only one series of awards here, and that would be the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films USA 1982. We'll probably hear that a lot, being October. So, winner, Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actor, Burgess Meredith. And then we have nominated for a Saturn Award for Best Fantasy Film, Best Supporting Actress, Maggie Smith, Best Music, Lawrence Rosenthal, and Best Costume, Emma Portis. I'm pretty sure I butchered that last name for sure.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be an episode if you didn't, right?
Oh, and Best Special Effects, Ray Harryhausen, who is absolutely well known for doing stop motion model
Clay
effects.
animation, yes. Very fantastic.
There's one more award.
No, there's two more.
There's two more. The Stinker. This is new. The Stinker's Bad Movie Awards 1981. The nominated for the Stinker Award, least special effects. Oh, man. And then we have the Young Artist Award of 1982, which was winner for Young Artist Award, Best Motion Picture, Fantasy or Comedy, Family Enjoyment.
You know, I think you're going to have to do a deep dive on the Stinker Award.
Yeah, we'll have to come back to that one for sure. That's the first time we've seen that one. The Stinker Bad Movie Award. Synopsis. A mythological adventure following Perseus, who must battle several creatures to save the love of his life.
Very, very good movie.
It's fun. It's really fun. So now we are jumping into the cast. Here we go.
The reason I'm letting Terrence read this cast is because there's some names I just want to see him butcher them, so I'm not going to lie.
All right, so we have Harry Hamlin as Perseus. We have I'm already easy ones. I'm already psyching myself
Judy,
out.
And you've already...
Judy Boker as Andromeda. We have Burgess Meredith as Almon. Maggie Smith as Thetis. We have Cyan Phillips as Cassiopeia. We have Claire Bloom as Hera. We have Ursula Andress as Aphrodite. We have Lawrence Oliver as Zeus. Pat Roach as Hephaestus, Susan Fleetwood as Athena, Tim Pidgett Smith as Thallo, Jim Gilliam as Poseidon, Neil McCarthy as Calibos, Vida Taylor as Diane, and Donald Hudson as I knew I'd hit one of these. Curseus, and then we have Flora Robson, Anna Manhattan, and Frida Jackson as the Stygian Witches.
Hey, Terrence, who played Zeus again?
Lawrence Oliver?
Olivier, maybe?
Olivier?
Olivier.
Is it Olivier? That's what I'm here to do.
I love it. By the way, you know who Burgess Meredith was, right? What's Burgess Meredith famous for? Besides this movie, who is Burgess Meredith? I'm putting you on the spot.
I know, it's on the tip of my tongue.
No, you don't. Remember. Don't lie. Who is it?
I know it's something.
He's the penguin from the '66 Batman.
Yeah.
He's also a grumpy old man and grumpy old man. So here we go, Terrence. Good job. You only butchered a few of them. So we're going to
butcher at least half.
Talk a little bit about this movie. So. This movie starts off pretty crazy. You see these soldiers carrying this casket,
yeah.
And you're like, what's going on? And basically, this gentleman found out that his wife basically cheated on him, I guess, for back of the word. She has a baby. And so they have decided that, and to appease the gods, that they are going to put the lady and the young baby, who is Perseus, you come to find out, into this casket, and they toss them in the ocean. So right from the get-go, you're like, great. Fair warning, there is a little bit of nudity here at the beginning. One of the scenes shows her breastfeeding her son, and then the other one is her when her boy's a little bit older and they're walking naked down the beach. So just a heads up for those of you that have never seen this movie, there is just a little bit at the beginning. So come to find out, the Zeus up in Mount Olympus or whatever, he's up there with all these other gods, and he's like, nothing, I don't want anything to happen to my boy.
Basically, you find out who she cheated on. It was Zeus.
It was his.
It's funny. Like, I think this is a pretty accurate depiction of Zeus, of just this like God who just wants what he wants. He doesn't care about anybody else, and just and then they mentioned multiple times in the film of just him, turning into different things and wooing different women.
Right. And the one lady is, well, but what about my son? He's like, well, I don't care. He's been given everything, I mean,
Zeus is a jerk.
Which will come out, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Zeus is up there and he's got like this Colosseum playset, I guess. And he's got all these little clay figures up there I
thought that was really cool.
In the wall. It was
a nice little touch.
So basically, their casket gets stuck, they get rescued. So there's a big struggle going on up there between Zeus and what's her name, Theta. There's one of the lady, the one who's Calabas's mom.
Yeah, I forgot which. Yeah.
So she's like, well, what about my son? Blah blah blah. And he's like, well, he's nothing to me. He's had all this. He was born into this, and so now I'm going to curse him. Basically, when he takes that figure down and puts him down, and it just curses him, trains him into
this creature,
right? So, but
like ogre kind of looking,
So basically, they're going to do something. Zeus is so mad that he tells Poseidon that to release the Kraken on the city, that they just tossed Perseus and his mom.
Yep.
And so Poseidon's like, as you wish. And he goes down there, and it's so cool. I have this movie in like 4K ultra high def, right? So It's so terribly good. You know what I mean? So you just see him down there, and he pulls the lever, and you see this big tail come out, and the skate go up. And he goes up there, and you just see like tidal waves just, destroying people, wiping out the entire city, basically. So, Terrence, go ahead and take it from there.
Yeah. I didn't know we were doing a walkthrough of the movie. Okay.
We're not, basically. I just tried to get it.
Yeah. So, after that, then they kind of show Perseus growing up, basically. They show that they made it safe somewhere else. Shows him grow up, and then the cool little transition I thought was Perseus is just chilling on the beach, just
right.
Staring at the moon, and then suddenly he finds himself in a Colosseum, and this is shortly after Zeus and Thetis have it out, and she's goes behind his back, and she's like, well, if Zeus is gonna have his way and protect his boy, I'm gonna make sure that Perseus goes through sees some harsh realities of life, and then she makes him disappear to some completely different region. What was the region called? It was Phobos, maybe?
Something like that. But it's somewhere that he's not familiar with. And it's so far away. But I thought it was cool that here comes Burgess Meredith's character. And I can't, what's his name again? Who'd he play?
He played Ammon.
Right. So he sits there. He's like,
probably my favorite character.
Yeah, he's like, well, where am I? He's like, he tells him where he's at. He's like, well, like, you're so far away from home. He's like, well, I got to get back or whatever.
I just like his intro where, like, he's in this big amphitheater. He's, who are you?
Remind me of the Wizard of Oz with the great and powerful Oz, you know what I mean? But, to make a long story short, because we could go through this entire movie, basically, there's Andromeda, who is the love that Perseus ends up, but she was actually betrothed to Calabas before, and so Calabas comes to her in these dreams, and he's like she gets in this little big vultures flying away with her in this little cage, and takes her to the swamps where Calabas is, and and he puts a necklace on her and stuff like that. But Perseus, in the meantime, he's decided, hey, Zeus is like, if you did this to my boy, he's like, at least I want you guys to make some special weapons for him.
To which you got a sword, a helmet, and a shield.
Right. The shield will come into play later, and I got a question for you about that. The helmet will make him go invisible.
It was invisible.
Right.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? The sword.
And then the sword, it was just a very good sword.
Right. And
that could cut through stone. And not have a single blemish.
Right. So. Fun fact, I did have these action figures when I was young. I had Perseus and I had Calabas. I still remember them because the stuff that the Perseus came with, I loved it. You had the little sheath or whatever. Yeah. And then Calabas had like a
for Babbo, the owl.
I have a list of them in here. I think that all came out with them, so we'll get to it. So basically, Perseus, he's like, I got to go. He's like, well, this is where he meets Pegasus, I do believe.
Yep, that's when he obtains Pegasus because he's trying to figure out how to free Andromeda. First he finds out that there's a riddle involved. And then he finds out that, going invisible, he gets to see, what happens to her.
Because he actually follows him. He actually goes to Andromeda and he follows her with Pegasus as the vulture.
Exactly.
And that's
as
where
it takes her soul over to Calibos.
Right. So this is where Calibos and Perseus, meet. Perseus is hidden.
Yeah.
And he notices the footprints in the ground, you know what I mean? And he sees him walking away, and and he's like, what is this, And so then this is where you see, Calibos throw the whip around his neck, and tries to drown him, basically. He goes to go, and he brings up his sword, and he cuts off Calibos's hand with the ring on it.
Yep.
Which was the clue to the riddle.
Solving of the
right, because
riddle.
Andromeda's mom was like, who is worthy of this? Is no man worthy to answer my riddle and all this?
Yeah.
And so the next day you see them doors open up, here comes Perseus, and he's like, and Andromeda's like, whoa, and this is really cool. He's like, you asked a riddle, and I've got the answer. And he's like, you want the answer to the riddle? The riddle is a ring, or whatever he says.
Yeah, the pearl ring.
And he's like,
Calibos.
and she's like, well, how did you know this? And he's like, because it was on this. And he pulls out the hand. It's still right here. And they're all like, ah. And his mom, Calibos' mom's there, and she's just mad. I mean, she just couldn't believe it or whatever. So,
and that's what when she really gets mad is when
is his mom there though
during the wedding?
It's been a couple weeks since I watched this, but I can't remember if she's actually there.
She is and she isn't because, she kind of... all of this is within her temple, so she knows it's going on, but she's not physically there. Does that make sense?
Right.
So, because it's during the wedding that
right, the wedding's... they agreed to get wedding.
Yeah, she goes...
which I think this part is one of the coolest scenes in this, the movie.
When...
Perseus.
The queen claims they're getting married, Andromeda and Perseus, and then the queen claims she's like, oh, my beautiful daughter who's just as fair as Thetis, and then she was mad, and she's like, how dare you compare a mortal's beauty to mine?
Right.
And then then she gives her omen.
Right. Well, this is when they're up there and they're getting ready to tie the knot or whatever. You know what I mean? And then the statue starts crumbling and the head falls off and it rolls down there, and all of a sudden the statue's head opens up. It's like a huge head, and it's actually the god. And she starts saying, you're not going to. I will release the Kraken on this city because you guys have, what you have done in my temple. We're going to destroy the city, basically.
Yeah.
Unless you got 3 days or whatever it is to
sacrifice Andromeda. Basically,
unless she is sacrificed on this cliff, then we're going to just destroy the whole city. To appease me. So this sends Perseus on a thing like, there's got to be a way.
An odyssey, basically.
Right. He's like,
odyssey of his own.
There's got to be a way to stop the Kraken. So this is where Aemon, Burgess Merlin, he's like, there's not a way known to man. And Perseus is like, but there is a way.
Yeah.
He's like, there are these 3 witches of Steigen, I think it was, that that they can tell, they know things that no mortal man can know, or basically. So Perseus is like, well, I must go to these people. So he ends up traveling with and don't get me wrong, we're probably skipping over some of the parts or getting some of the parts mixed up, but just watch it. I mean,
potatoes,
right? It's one of my favorite childhood memories. You know what I mean? So, obviously, if we're slaying or mixing up something, don't hold it against us, because when we plan to do this, obviously Terrence took another 2 weeks off. So it's been a while since I watched it. So, basically, he's going to find these witches, and he takes a group of people with him, and they get there to the cave, and but before he leaves, he's like, well, Pegasus, it's only like a 3-hour journey instead of a 3-day journey. I'll get there and come back, and we'll be able to find it.
It'll be fine.
But in the meantime, you see Calibos sneak over, and he basically, captures Pegasus.
The whole movie, he's trying to sabotage Perseus and his endeavor to try to best the Kraken, basically.
Right. So he basically captures Pegasus, and Zeus, finds out about this or whatever. And he's like, well, I want you to send Bupo down, which Bupo is this mechanical owl.
Bupo was an owl that belonged to one of the goddesses, and then he was like, send the owl down there. Like, give Perseus the owl because he
spits by.
Yeah, exactly, because he lost his helmet. So give him the owl, and then she's like, no. Well, she says she's first, obviously to his face. She says okay, but what she does instead is create a mechanical version.
Right. That's what I was going to get ready to get to. Right. Yep. So, to make a long story short, Bupo, they see Bupo in this tree, because they didn't know which way to go. To find these witches, and Bupo's like, he comes down and he's sitting there, and Perseus can actually understand him. All he's doing is doing little chirps like R2D2, you know what I mean? Beep, 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 beep. And Perseus is like, what, you guys don't understand? He's like, yeah, I can understand. He's like, we got to follow him.
And Hamon, another gift from the gods.
Right. Love him. So they take off. Long story short, they come to this cave, and I
think an important thing to note is they basically said, oh yeah, these blind seers they're cannibals.
Right.
Which is why Perseus had to approach them how he did, which is, Beppu taking the eye, and then, him kind of like, antagonizing him with it, because that's their, seeing ball.
Right, because he goes in one entrance of the cave, and Bupo's up at the top with a couple of the guardsmen. And, they're like, pass me the eye. And they're like, oh, yeah, give me the eye. And they keep fighting over this eye back and forth. So, and he's like, now. And the Bupo comes down, steals the eye. And he's like, I got the eye. He's like, look, tell me how to beat the Kraken. And they go around this whole little games and charades for the entire time. She's like, well, there is one way. And he's like, well, tell me. He's like, well, on the Isle of whatever, there is the famous Medusa who can turn people into stone. And, basically he's like, okay, thanks, and he just tosses the eye, and they're all running around scrambling, trying to find the eye. Give it to me, so they take off. So
here, catch.
So you get to the part of the movie where they're getting to this island. Well, they can't get to the island. They have to ferry over. Yeah. And this is a pretty cool scene.
With the ferryman, Charon.
Right.
Who's known to, which I thought was a little interesting, because that would insinuate that where Medusa was where the afterlife is.
Right.
Which in all Greek mythology, like all places of mythology, are on Earth, which is interesting. So Mount Olympus is somewhere. The afterlife, Elysium, and there's like 3 other places that I always forget the names of. But those are all places you can go to. So they pay the ferryman Charon.
You see Perseus hand over that coin. His hand opens up; it's a skeleton hand. And he puts the coin in there, and it closes on there. And so something I caught, and I don't know if you caught this too, but when he gets on the boat with Charon, only like one guy gets on with him.
Yeah.
But when you get over to the island, they get off. There's like 3 or 4 people over there.
I noticed that too. I was like, what?
I only saw one person getting on, so I don't know if that was just a continuity error or what, or budget, maybe. I don't know. So they get off, and the thing, and you turn around and you see the hooded cloak turn to them, and it's the skeleton face and all that. You know what I mean? So, so now they're on this island where Medusa supposedly is.
Yeah.
And they're looking around, and you see a couple of stone statues, But then you see the famous, what was supposed to be a 3-headed dog. It was only a 2-headed dog because Ray Harryhausen didn't have enough time. It would take so much time to do a 3rd head on there.
Yeah.
And what is it? It's I forget
Cerberus.
his name. Yeah.
So they fight Cerberus,
basically,
and which I think kills like 2 of the soldiers, and then
there's still 2 more.
Yeah, and then Perseus is trying to get a sword back from a snake.
Right. He's kind of like, do I go in here for this? And I always wondered about that too. Was that one of the snakes, kind of tied to Medusa?
Yeah,
you never know.
Yeah.
Because it wraps around that handle, and he's like, well, do I go? Do I not go? You see the struggle. I'm scared of snakes, but is this her? So he finally gets in. He comes and he like jumps off the thing and stabs one of the heads, and all that. So basically, it's down to Perseus and 2 other guys, and. This is probably, when I was a child, this is the part that I thought was the coolest, but it also scared me the most, and that is Medusa. So you see Perseus, and these guys in there, and Medusa's bad to the bone. She's got this bow and arrow, you know what I mean? And
she's a crack shot.
Yeah, she can.
So she immediately takes out one guy.
Yeah,
and it like doesn't even need, she doesn't even need to
turn him to stone.
She had a mortal wound because, like, he basically, she hits him so he falls.
It doesn't he, like,
and then he looks up, and then as soon as he looks up, he's like, oh, and then, like, that's when Medusa's eyes turn green, and
they
then,
glow, and
then he turns to stone.
It's so good. So Perseus is up there. He's already lost one guy, and I think she gets the other guy too, doesn't she? I think she kills the other guy.
She gets the other guy too.
So Perseus is like, man, I can't look directly at her, and then he starts having this memory about, oh, your shield will save your life one day. So he gets the idea that he's going to take his. He takes something, and I think he takes like a torch or something. He throws it. Remember, because she looks away.
Yeah,
and she shoots an arrow.
Yeah,
and then he takes a shield and he throws it on this other statue, and he threw it perfectly because now he can see her reflection in the mirror or in the shield,
and vice versa.
Right. So here you see her. He's up against this. He's up against this pillar. And he's breathing heavy, and he's got got his head back and all that, trying to control his breathing and all that. And Medusa's like, she looks fantastic. Yeah. And the snakes in her hair and everything.
Very intense scene.
Very good. And she was all clay animation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very well done. Then she keeps coming down there, and she's shooting her, and she sees him, and she shoots that arrow at the shield. Nothing happens or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she comes around that corner, and he takes his sword, and he just cuts her head off, dude, and it's so cool. But here's the part I propose to you: his shield, and remember this part, okay? Because I'm gonna ask you about this. His shield falls into her blood, and it melts.
Yep.
Right.
Because her blood is venomous, poisonous, and all kinds of bad.
Right.
Yep.
So, you see him bend down, and he picks the head up, and he's just like, not looking at it. And then you get like the iconic scene where he stumbles out of the temple or whatever, and he just holds her head up like victory,
Yeah.
So now we know the plot. He's taking this head back to, I forget the name of the town. It always escapes me.
I want to say Phobos, but I'm not 100% sure.
But they're taking back to where Andromeda is. And so now you have where they're Bubo. He's like I don't know. He's like, we're here. He's like, how are we going to get back? I don't know how we're going to get back. He's like, it'd be really tough for even Pegasus to get here. And that's where Bubo takes off. And he goes and finds Pegasus and releases Pegasus from.
Perseus tells Bubo he's like, find Pegasus and release him. Is this after he has his final confrontation with Calibos?
See, I don't...
Because it's after he defeats Calibos.
No, not yet. Well, but...
he sends Bubo to save Pegasus.
But what you're forgetting is they get back, I guess, to the mainland, and they're all sleeping outside. And this is where you see Calibos come up, and he takes his claw, because he's got like a trident hand now.
Yeah.
And he stabs Medusa's bag and for the blood to come out, and those scorpions are on the ground, and grows the big scorpions.
So here's what I found interesting.
But hang on, wait. This is where my question was. So you're telling me that Medusa's blood melted a shield. Why didn't it melt Calibos' hand?
That too, yeah. The continuity what I saw was if Medusa's blood produces creatures, why didn't the blood that was pouring out of her body produce anything?
No. Her blood didn't produce creatures. It made them grow bigger. There were scorpions on the ground.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And they rolled into the blood. It was kind of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Secret of the Ooze. They roll into this stuff and they came up. So this is where you see them fighting the scorpions. Funny thing is that one of the scorpions I think kills one of the guys. But you never see that scorpion again after that because Perseus kills one and I think the other guard kills one.
Yep.
Now. Is this where he fights Calibos, or I thought he goes and...
It would have to be. Yeah, they fight the scorpions, he fights Calibos, then he sends Bubo to...
Hang on, let me pause this. I'm going to check this real quick. All right, so we did double check. We were right. Luckily, Terrence had it right on the part. This is where, they kill the scorpions, and then this is where Calibos is coming in to kill Perseus.
Yeah.
And he takes his whip, and he wraps around his neck, and Perseus' sword is flung away. And there's a big struggle. Calibos is pulling in. And Perseus reaches out, grabs his sword, and he just heaves it. Heaves it, and it goes right into Calibos' chest, which you see him, fall, and then his face slowly turns back to normal, his human form. I guess you call it human form.
Yeah.
So now, this is where Bubo goes, I think, and
Yeah. Right after that's when he sends Bubo to save Pegasus. So then he can.
because he is stuck back in like the swamps, but he's with like these wild men, you know what I mean, that was working with Calibos. So Bubo starts a fire, knocks over a torch and everything, and he goes over there and he just lifts the thing up, and Pegasus is now free, and they get out of there. So now you're coming to the end of the movie where they're starting to walk Andromeda out to the cliff.
Yep.
And you're
chaining
like,
her up.
You're like, what's going on? This is sad. And then you see in the distance, you see Perseus coming on Pegasus, just slowly, because by this time Poseidon he's like, okay, we're releasing the Kraken. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you see Poseidon down there again, pulls the lever, and he's just, he's got that look on, like, and you see the Kraken, and then you actually see the Kraken come up out of the water. You know what I mean? And
but this is actually right after an interesting scene where you can tell, Zeus is, when he gives the orders to release the Kraken,
he's
very
upset.
solemn about it. But you also see him kind of slyly, like there's the figure, because you see Perseus come back, with the head of Medusa, but then he falls. Because he's just exhausted from all the endeavors, and then you see Zeus in his little model Colosseum, and he just stands up the figure of Perseus, showing that no, he'll be all right.
Because he does it like behind his back, I thought that was great. I just liked his whole scene there with all the figures. It was very interesting, because especially like Calibos, when he set him down there, and then it shows the shadow of the figure changing,
turning and deforming, and then you see the deformed figure.
So now the Krakens come up, really well done by Ray Harryhausen once again, putting his craft to work. So they've got her chained up on the side of a cliff, down by the water, on these chains. And you see Bubo fly in, and he's distracting, the Kraken and all that. And then you see Perseus come in, and there's like waves coming, and he actually falls off, and he drops the bag of Medusa.
He's struggling opening the bag.
Right.
Because he's like right where he needs to be, but he can't get the bag open. Because you see Andromeda going, Perseus, what is he doing?
And then you see the bag just fall.
And they just all fall.
Right. So he opens up he drops the bag in the ocean, and Bubo's like, really? I got to do this again? So Perseus is like, he's in the water. He goes over to Andromeda or whatever, he's just like, look, I'm here,
Yeah.
He's trying to get her chains off, and the Kraken's looking at him. And you see Bubo go down, and he grabs the bag with Medusa's head, and he flies. You see he's just flying all over the place. And he throws it at Perseus. And this time Perseus opens, and just in time, he turns around and he shows it at the Kraken, and her eyes do that crazy glowing again.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the Kraken starts turning to stone. And this is really well done too. It just stares so long at the Kraken, it turns into stone, and then it starts crumbling, just crumbling to pieces. And
crumbles back into the ocean.
Right, so now you're at the end of the movie where, there's a really cool scene there that has Pegasus and everybody standing around. I thought that was really well done. And then they end up getting married at the end or whatever. There was Pegasus right there. No, Terrence, your phone. But
I was usually on silent. Very uncharacteristic of me.
So now we're at the end of the movie. They end up getting married, and, the way they go. So let's talk about a little bit about the interesting facts of this movie that I have found. Despite being listed on posters as having a main title billing, Ursula Andress only says one line in the entire movie.
Really?
Right. The original script called for Perseus to cut off Medusa's head simply by throwing his shield at her in an attempt to appease UK standards and practice censors, as the producers felt that the hero decapitating someone would not be appropriate for children in the audience. Harry Hamlin was apparently resistant to the ideal from the beginning, as it wasn't in keeping with the actual Greek mythology. When the day came to film the scene, and it still hadn't changed, he threatened to quit the movie and fly home. He remained in his trailer, much to the producer Charles H. Schneer, director Desmond Davis, and producer Ray Harryhausen's annoyance. In the process of trying to coax him out, he was gradually able to get some of the other crew members on his side, which resulted in the scene being rewritten accordingly. So basically, he stood up for what he wanted, what I mean?
Exactly. You have to stick to the lore.
Harry Hamlin and Ursula Andress began a relationship during the production of this movie, which produced a son, Dimitri Hamlin, who was born in 1980 after completion of principal photography. Bubo, the mechanical owl of Athena, was introduced to capitalize on the popularity of R2-D2 from Star Wars A New Hope in 1977. The name Bubo is a scientific term for the genius of eagle owls and horned owls, which is interesting because the robot Bubo was modeled on a barn owl, which is the genus Taito, and not a Bubo at all. Bubo made a cameo appearance in Clash of the Titans in 2010, and I'll never forget that because, what's this junk? And they toss him to the side. I was like, how dare you? Sir Laurence Olivier was so ill during the making of this film, he would often go and lean on his tall, burly co-star Pat Roach, saying, "Let me draw some of your strength, dear boy." So he was really sick during the filming of this.
Yeah.
According to Harry Hamlin, prior to doing this movie, he was considered doing another project with Richard Burton, a movie adaptation of the story of Tristan and Isolde, love spell from 1981. He ultimately gravitated towards became this movie, despite not knowing anything about it, as it would have been an opportunity to work with Sir Laurence Olivier, the one actor he considered probably even greater in stature than Burton. So,
which his role as Zeus, he does really good. And the few scenes that he's in.
Oh yeah. The Greek hellhounds traditionally had 3 heads, but Dysgilios in this movie has only 2 because it would have taken Ray Harryhausen too much time to animate a 3rd head. So that was the name, not Cerberus. You're thinking of Kingdom Hearts and all that, right?
Well, no. Cerberus is part of the lore, but I wasn't aware that hellhounds also had 3 heads.
Oh, now you know. But this actually is Dioskilos. So, the character Calibos, Lord of the Marsh and son of Thetis, does not appear in Greek mythology and is based on Caliban, an antagonist created by William Shakespeare in 1611 for his play The Tempest. In Greek mythology, the son of Thetis was Achilles, Greece's best warrior in the fight against Troy. Let's see.
That one's a pretty good movie.
Right. Beverly Cross, the screenwriter for this, or Maggie Smith, who was Thetis, was married to screenwriter Beverly Cross, and he had previously written another mythology movie, Jason and the Argonauts, in 1963 for producer Charles H. Schneer, which me and you talked about that earlier.
Which was also had the animation done by Ray.
Right. Initially, Calibos had no dialogue and was a purely stop-motion character. Huh. They had to rewrite the script, and dialogue was added, and the role was given to Neil McCarthy. Right. Runner-up for the role of Perseus, Malcolm McDowell, Michael York, and Richard Chamberlain. Also, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was fairly unknown at the time but would find greater success with Conan the Barbarian in 1992, was considered for the role, but the producer felt that, with the exception of Hercules, the Greek heroes were athletic but not overly muscular.
Yeah.
And relied more on cunning than strength. So he felt that casting a very muscular actor was cliche, harkening back to the cheesy Italian sword and sandal movies made in the 50s and 60s. But you know what? Arnold would be back.
He was great in Conan.
Oh, man. But I like at the end of the one, he's like, but that is another story. Despite the movie being notable for its stop-motion visual effects, it was not Oscar-nominated for either makeup or visual effects.
Which we noticed when we were going over the awards.
Right. Greek god and goddess characters appearing in this movie include immortals Zeus, who was the supreme father of gods and men, Hera, the goddess of marriage and maternity, Thetis, a titan of myth, not one of the 12 Olympic gods, Aphrodite, the goddess of love, Poseidon, the god of the sea, Hephaestus, a god of fire, metalworking, stonemasonry, and the art of sculptor, and Athena, goddess of wisdom, warfare, divine intelligence, and architecture and crafts. Because Star Wars did such a well job with their toy selection from 1978 to 1985, Mattel produced Clash of the Titan toys in 1981. The toys released were Perseus, Thallo, Calibos, Charon, Pegasus, and the Kraken. I'd like to see the Kraken figure. I don't think I ever saw that.
Yeah, interesting.
I wonder if it was to scale, bigger than...
Oh, yeah. If they were like the figure was bigger, maybe a more expensive figure or something like that. So I always think what's interesting in the retelling of Greek lore as far as movies go, they always usually depict Hades as the villain. When in actual Greek mythology, it's actually Hera, who's typically mad at Zeus for going off and sleeping with whoever. So, she's obviously mad. So she's always, throwing out all these, crazy things to try to get back at Zeus. And That's the interesting thing to bring up is, this I think was a little more accurate in depiction of how, Greek mythology was, which is Zeus messing around, Hera getting mad, and then things happening crazy on Earth because of this.
According to Ray Harryhausen's website, there was a sequel to this movie titled Force of the Trojans that was pitched to MGM in 1984, but it never circumvented and never came to light, which would have been interesting because they remade what was Wrath of the Titans, I think, came out this year. It was a sequel to...
I have no idea.
Right. Let's see. Sir Laurence Olivier, who played Zeus, and Claire Boom Hera, previously played another married couple in King Richard III of England and Anne Neville in Richard III from 1955. Neil McCarthy, who played Calibos, only in the headshots and half body shots. All full body shots of Calibos were played by a stop motion model.
Yep.
The Deny and Perseus cast adrift scene was filmed at Kyancy Cove on the Lizard, Cornwall. In the scene where Perseus fights Medusa, everyone with him had a different shield. One had a griffin, one has a Pegasus, and the one that Terrence would be carrying if he was in the movie, a flying pig. Sir Rex Harrison was asked to play Poseidon, but rejected the role as being too tiny.
So Arnold Schwarzenegger was too big, and
this guy refused. This guy refused to play Poseidon because it was too tiny of a role. I think not too tiny as a stature. During the film's theatrical release in the UK, a marketing campaign was made with Smith's Monsters Munch Snacks. Consumers could send off for a poster magazine if they send in empty packets as proof of purchase. Huh. Also, the back of the packet featured fun facts on one of the monsters in the film. So that's really cool. Way to go, UK. This was one of Harry Himlin's first given role in this movie, and then also The King of the Mountain in 1981. So Laurence Olivier was succeeded in the role of Zeus by his The Bounty 1984 co-star Liam Neeson in Clash of the Titans in 2010 and Wrath of the Titans in 2012. As the destruction of Argos begins, heavy winds blow the tunic of a man pulling a donkey on a rope to reveal a pair of modern-day gym shorts underneath.
That's funny. I didn't catch that.
When Perseus is invisible, he leaves footprints, which are those of modern shoes and not sandals of the time, in the sand. This is just some the little errors that are left.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
And there's a lot more information on this. I'm just pulling some of the good stuff, stuff that I thought would be interesting to the audience. The DVD cover of this movie shows Perseus riding Pegasus toward the Kraken wearing his helmet and wielding his sword, but the helmet was lost before the Kraken battle, and it made the wearer invisible.
Yeah.
The sword was also left behind after Perseus killed Calibos with it, also before the Kraken battle. Also, Pegasus' right wing is shown behind Perseus' right leg. In the movie, Pegasus' wings are in front of his rider's legs, not near his rear flanks.
That's pretty funny. He has a tendency to forget that sword. He forgot the sword in the very beginning.
In the
grabs the helmet. He grabs the helmet and the shield, and he's super happy, and he just leaves the Colosseum, and Ammon's like, "Wait, your sword!" The young, so impetuous and foolish.
In the scene between Perseus and the Stygian witches, it can be seen that one of the witches has eye holes poked in her flesh that covers her eye sockets as she reaches to grab the crystal eye from her sisters. Despite her firing several shots, the number of arrows in Medusa's quivers remains the same. There's wires visible on the mechanical eye in many of the scenes, which... Boopa,
Yeah.
What are you going to do? When Calibos stabs the Medusa head back with his prosthetic, and this is what I was talking about, a huge quantity of Medusa's blood gets on it. If Medusa's blood is so caustic as to dissolve a shield made by the gods, why doesn't Calibos' prosthetic also dissolve quickly?
Maybe
Terrence, why?
Also made by a different god and better.
But it wouldn't matter.
Who knows?
So there you have it, Terrence. Go ahead and give me your thoughts on this movie.
It's a fun movie that sort of highlights the time of where a lot of claymation was going on. I think they call it dynamation or something like that. There was a name that was coined for the term of using models and clay to animate creatures and such. The time before massive special effects that we're in today. It also shows how far we've come, which is really cool to see. Watching something using claymation as special effects and watching something today with, graphic special effects. It's really cool. But yeah, if you like if you like Greek mythology, if you like action movies, this is definitely something to check out. If claymation's not your thing, because I know not everybody is into that. I know there's a lot of people who find claymation off-putting. It's probably a pass for people like that. But if you like Greek mythology, I'd still say give it a try. But for me, it was fun. It was very cool, and like I said, kind of looking back and seeing how special effects were, and then kind of looking at how things are now.
Right. Well, to me, when you're a kid, the sky is limited with your imagination.
Absolutely, I imagine watching this as a kid.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And even though it scared me, I loved it. There was just something about the Medusa character that just put me over the top. I mean, you had the action figures and all that. Going back and watching it now, it's a rough watch at times.
Certain parts, yeah.
Certain parts. I mean, especially in ultra high def 4K, you can notice a lot more.
Oh yeah, I was getting ready to say, dude, I wouldn't recommend watching this in high. I downloaded the standard edition because you have it on Vudu. So,
right.
but instead of downloading the high definition, I just went ahead and went standard definition. I typically do that with older movies because when you take a movie as old as this, especially when it relies on claymation and special effects from that time, they tend to get highlighted. When you start watching it in higher qualities,
right? Yeah, but for me, I'm always going to like the original. The remake that they did, I was so upset with it, but the original still sticks with me. It's one of my personal favorites from childhood. So to me, I hold it to a higher regard than during this episode. Did we get some things out of place? Probably. Terrence usually does, but the timeline or whatever. So that's why I always say people to go watch the movie themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because sometimes we may get things out of order because the time frame that we do to record. It's probably been 2 or 3 weeks since I watched this again. Instead of being fresh on my mind, like just watching it as we stepped in to record. But knowing that and knowing how it was when I was a kid, it just makes the movie so much. It means so much more to somebody that saw it when they were a kid.
Yeah,
and then like we talked about with Leslie on her thing, when our interview with Leslie Fear, when you see something at a different time in your life, it may trigger something different for you. She was talking about the Breakfast Club, and we were talking about the Breakfast Club, and the differences. So I'm not going to spoil anything for the interview, but just when you see it at a different point in your life, I think it depends on how well you react to the movie.
Exactly. And nostalgia holds weight to a lot of different things, which if, this last decade hasn't showed us, obviously there's been remake after remake, and that just shows, people always have a hankering for things that make them nostalgic. And, this would be no exception for you, you know what I mean? It was like something that you really enjoyed as when you were younger would still be something you enjoy now because that nostalgia is just, so strong. Right.
So there you have it. That's our take on the Clash of the Titans. If you haven't seen it, give it a shot. Just remember when it was filmed and when it was, and maybe find a VHS at Goodwill of it or something instead of watching the ultra high def version. So if you'd like to leave us a review, pretty much iTunes, Apple Podcasts is where we read most of our reviews. Pretty much all of them because it's the only ones that I get a notification for. You can email us at thetragedyofcinema@gmail.com. Don't forget right now, if you haven't listened to any of our Twilight Zone episodes, Eric Cummings joins me to do the Twilight Zone episodes where we are having a contest. I think it started with the last 2 Twilight Zone episodes where we give a secret word throughout the broadcast or the podcast, whether it's in the beginning, in the middle, at the end. It's in there somewhere, I guarantee you. If you're one of those ones that skip the intro or skip the disclaimer or something, you might want to slow down the next couple episodes is all I'm giving you a hint. So we have given Terrence the opportunity to pick next week's movie. And Terrence, would you like to go ahead and tell everybody what movie you selected for next week?
We are going to watch Labyrinth.
Terrence wants to do.
And interestingly enough, it's a very popular movie, and it's a movie that has always been on my radar, and I never got to.
So now you're going to force yourself to watch it.
So now I'm going to finally watch it, so then, we can continue to do our podcast.
And hopefully, hey, you guys, you heard it here first. He said next week, so I'm holding him to that. So next week he will be here.
Is this your second time, multiple time, first
for
time?
Labyrinth?
Yeah, for Labyrinth.
I think it's like 3.
Gotcha.
But we'll talk about it next week. I don't want to give anything away because you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But it's David Bowie. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's
Goblin
the
King.
biggest takeaway that I know is David Bowie's in it, and he's the Goblin King. That's all I know.
Well, I think this episode's coming to a close, and that's a wrap. And cut.